Hello everyone, welcome back to our Visio Divina Faith Formation series on video. We are continuing on with our second piece of art for this series, but I found an image between my last video and this one. Last one we looked at was The Last Judgment by Michelangelo, and I highlighted one particular figure called the Sinner, and I found an image that is a detail of the Last Judgment, and this is him. So we couldn't quite get the detail. But what I was talking about in the last video, you can see the anguish in the creases of his face, the horror in his eye, full pupil is exposed, the despair on his face, and the other hand just clenching his face. This is the detail of that one figure, and this is the only figure on all whatever 300, 400 figures in the whole Last Judgment scene that is looking directly at the viewer. And so anyway, I found it and I wanted to show it to you. So there's that. Okay, so let's close this out, and the next one we're going to look at here, this is called the San Damiano Cross. San Damiano is Italian for Saint Damien, and this cross is an interesting piece in our church history, universal church history. It was originally in a church in the valley down below from Assisi, and at the call for his conversion, St. Francis of Assisi was praying in the church, and this cross spoke to him. And the cross spoke to him and said, "Francis, rebuild my church." Okay, so he took that literally, and the church that he rebuilt is still around. They built a larger basilica over it, and I think it's called St. Mary of the Angels, and that's down in the valley, down below the town of Assisi, which is up on a hill. And of course, what Jesus meant was bring renewal to my capital C church, my universal church. And so it was after that that he started the Franciscan movement, and the poor brothers, the friars. So this is the San Damiano Cross, and it still exists. This is the cross itself. Where it now is no longer in that church. It is in Assisi itself. It is in a side chapel of the Basilica of St. Clare of Assisi. Okay, so that is the San Damiano Cross. I found another image where we can look at it straight on in some greater clarity. Now, this is a popular image. There's been many reproductions of it and so on. In Assisi and elsewhere, they sell these as you can use them as a crucifix in your own home. I have one that I purchased in my first pilgrimage to Assisi. And it's an icon style, so icon, not a standard cross, but iconography, so figures all studying, and it's a window to heaven. And anyway, so the one I have, the background is got gold leaf on it, which is unique to icons as well, or distinctive of icons. So let's look at another image of this. Here we go. Okay. So let's take a look at what's going on here. Let's see, can this one let me zoom in on parts? Yes. Let's start at the top. Okay, at the top, what we have going on here, first of all, we have a hand here, and in the form of a blessing. So you see my hand at times when I'm blessing things, like at Mass or other things, I have my hand, let's see if I can, like so. Okay, so the three fingers combined are the three persons of the Trinity, and the two fingers combined here, the two natures of Christ, human and divine, and then blessing. So I got that from art. Okay, so I do that because this hand here is doing that. Now, this is understood, I believe, by most sacred art historians to be the right hand of God the Father. So we have a depiction in this whole icon of God the Father, and it is God the Father blessing his Son in this great mission of what his Son is doing. So here's Jesus in triumph and glory, ascending into heaven with the weapon of his victory, and but of course the large scene is Jesus himself crucified. So we have saints. This is featured a lot in sacred art. We have saints kind of discussing and in conversation about the mystery of what's going on here. Okay, we have angels here. It gets pretty graphic. We have the blood flowing right down here and dripping, okay, and flowing down here and dripping. Now there's one figure here I wanted to highlight. This little guy here, and it's hard to see in this image, but there's him, and then there's like the crown of his head again and the crown of his head again, kind of told in triplicate. And I've heard this somewhere, I can't remember where, but sometimes, in fact oftentimes, artists will put themselves in their works of art. And this figure here is thought to be maybe the artist, and that he's put there in triplicate was to put himself, very small and out of the way, but to somehow stand out as distinct because there's kind of his head in triplicate, like he's viewing there, he's praying there, and he wrote this icon. So I don't know if that's actually true, but that's what I've been told. That's what I've been told is a possibility of who this figure is, that little head there. Okay, let's zoom back out. And then this little guy here is a Saint Longinus, the soldier who, at the moment of having pierced the side of Christ, here he is, the pierced side of Christ. This guy, having just done that, declares truly this is the Son of God. And that's in the Gospels. So he's looking up particularly at the wound that he created and was converted in that moment. And then what we've got going on here at the bottom, again, the blood gushing. But it's a little ruination here. I think this is a replication of maybe the true San Damiano Cross without an artist trying to restore some aspects of it. So there's more saints and angels at the bottom there. And then I think this little guy here is meant to be a replication of maybe another soldier. Maybe there are two soldiers who convert on the spot. So one tried to feed Jesus the wine in the sponge on that spear, and then the other guy actually stabbed Jesus' side. Okay, so the San Damiano Cross in its detail here, and we began with the presentation of its kind of its unique history and its the miracle associated with that inspired St. Francis to start the Franciscan order. Okay, and again, these are very popular. They're relatively easy to get one of your own to put in your home. So anyway, if anyone who would like to get that, you should be able to find one. Okay, so that brings us to the close of this second video in our series on the San Damiano Cross. Please join me again next time. God bless you all.